Stop gentrifying my neighborhoods. Yeah. U of A students from Phoenix who hate Tucson. Idiots on roofs. I'm still laughing at that. Daddy's money, old money, and shady money. Felony flats over here. Former punk houses, now crack houses. Pesticides is what they're calling it. Okay. Welcome to today's video. In this video, we're going to have a lot of fun because I am going to be taking you on a map tour of Tucson according to hood maps. I'm going to be putting my local experience to work and giving you some insight from my own perspective, being a local in Tucson my entire life, on why the names that hood maps assigns to some of these areas of Tucson might be there. And when you stick around and watch this video all the way through, I'm also going to share with you 3 areas in the Tucson and greater Tucson area that I think provide the best neighborhoods, the best areas for both amenities, price, convenience, diversity in what they offer in terms of home styles. I'm going to cover that all. You're not going to want to miss that. Stay tuned. Let's jump in. All right, so first of all, if you're not familiar with hood maps is this that you're seeing on screen right here. It is essentially a Google map of their own names of different areas, what they've referred to them. And if you look at some of these names, it is hilarious. Now, disclaimer, because I feel like I need it. I didn't create these names. This is their names. They controlled all of this. However, I'm going to click through here and show you navigate kind of some of the Tucson areas. And we're going to navigate this map together because, to be honest with you, I have never been on this website except today. And I thought it would be a funny way to kind of get a glimpse into Tucson, but also give you guys some honest insight from my experience living in a lot of these areas all over Tucson. Now, I know this map is pretty busy, so just bear with me. I'm going to kind of zoom into some areas, but generally downtown Tucson, let's look for downtown Tucson. It is so busy. It's hard for me to even keep track of what's going on here. Okay. We got Broadway. Okay. So this must be the University of Arizona. So downtown Tucson is going to be approximately here. Now, this is so funny. Okay. This area won the 10-year challenge. Okay. So I guess let's start there. I'm assuming what they refer to in the 10-year challenge is downtown Tucson, which is here. Over the last decade, it has definitely transformed. I can only assume that that's what they mean by this area won the 10-year challenge. Downtown Tucson, man, when I was growing up, I would say 15 years ago, there was really no reason to go downtown Tucson unless you worked at one of the big corporate buildings there, a lot of office space there. And so that was pretty much just exclusively for that. There was some restaurants down there, but there was really no nightlife, very little like exclusive restaurants. There was a couple venues like the old Fox Theater, the Rialto Theater. You got Hotel Congress, which is an iconic historic location. John Dillinger, I believe, was arrested there and stayed there. So you got a lot of history downtown, but honestly, 15 years ago, there just was no reason to go there. And that all changed once there started to be this huge gentrification, which you're seeing that word down here, in commercial buildings and commercial developments coming in. A lot of restaurants, a lot of retail, a lot of just new up and coming places, a lot of renovations going on. And because of that, that downtown area has become an epicenter of culture, of Tucson culture. Tucson's been named one of the best foodie locations in the country because we have such amazing food options here, primarily our Mexican food, but there are some incredible restaurants downtown that you should check out. If you're in from out of town or you live here, there are several different restaurants that, pop up several times a year, several new ones per year pop up that are just amazing. So check that out. Also, the real estate in this area you've got a lot of really, really old homes, from Victorian style homes, Tudor style homes, contemporary craftsmen. You got some of the most beautiful and unique real estate in Tucson located downtown. And a lot of those homes have been renovated over the last 10 or 15 years as well. Many of those homes are 100 plus years old, which is very cool. Let's take a look. What else? Who put these shipping containers here? I think there is. Oh, you know what? Okay. Okay. So there is, across the freeway, there's this place called the Annex, which is a commercial retail and dining space that they've built out of all of these little shipping containers. And then each shipping container has like a little miniature restaurant in it, or a little boutique shopping place in it. So that must be what they're referring to. Cool area. It is right across from the Mercado. And this whole area over here is just nothing but very historic neighborhoods, little barrios, which are old, just old historic neighborhoods. And let's see, it continues over here. Stop gentrifying my neighborhoods. Yeah. Best Mexican food over here. I mean, you're probably going to see that a lot on this map, to be honest with you. So we're downtown. We crossed over west of I-10. Last leg day, good views. Okay, so this is this is St. Mary's Hospital is located here, one of the bigger hospitals in town. And leg day, good views. That has to be Tumamoc Hill. I have spent a lot of time. If you're a Tucsonan or you plan on being a Tucsonan, this is a great place to get some outdoor exercise. It has about a 2-mile walking path that you can walk all the way up to the top. And that's got to be why they call it leg day, because it is steep, lots of switchbacks. It's paved the whole way. No biking, no dogs, just people and foot traffic. But from the early morning hours till I think they close down right around sunset, just an incredible outdoor walk that can definitely be intense when you start hitting some switchbacks up the mountain. Also, when you get to the top, as it indicates, good views. Absolutely good views. You have incredible views of the city of Tucson overlooking that when you're up at the top. All right, let's see what else we can find here. I find it interesting that they recommended this area here. Now, let's zoom in and see what this area is. You've got Aviation Highway here, and you have 36th Street here. Okay, Fairlands Avenue. Yeah, I'm familiar with this area. I actually owned a property in this neighborhood, and it was an investment property. And it was going to be, I'll just share my experience. It was going to be a long-term investment property. And during the remodel, I experienced quite a bit of issues, and issues with tenants that I assumed when I bought the property, issues with damage to the property when I was in the process of renovating it. Long story short, I ended up saying, you know what, let me cut my losses. I'm going to sell this property. And this for me personally wasn't an area that fits the long-term rental model that I was hoping to go for. And honestly, the rule of thumb for me as an investor is, because I do actively invest. Most of what I do is helping people buy and sell real estate. I do also invest in real estate. So I think a lot of people appreciate that. Like, if you're going to hire someone to help you navigate buying or selling a piece of real estate, it also helps if they kind of are putting their money where their mouth is. And I've been fortunate enough to invest quite a bit in real estate here in Tucson. And this property, one of my rules of thumb is that if I can't see myself living in a property or in an investment property, it's not a good investment property for me, or one that I'm not as interested in. So I do have some familiarity with this area. There are quite a bit of small multifamily properties. Almost exclusively, all of this is small multifamily duplex properties, so 2 units. I think that makes it a very, very attractive place for investors. Now, not all investors are like me. A lot of investors really find their bread and butter in a diverse range of neighborhoods. For me in particular, just wasn't my bread and butter, so I opted out of that. But I find that interesting that this is one of their recommended areas. See, nice zoo. So we are in central Tucson here. We actually have a fairly large zoo. It has zebras, bears, lions, giraffes, elephants. Um, it's kind of wild to think that you can live in central Tucson. I used to live near this zoo. We still own a house near that zoo. And you're within a mile or two of like elephants, like 7 elephants and lions and a giraffe. So, or 3 giraffes. So kind of cool, beautiful park, probably the biggest park in Tucson. This is what's considered Reed Park here. This big kind of square mile. Also, if you're looking for walking paths, running paths, there is a walkway that goes along the entire park. And on my big training runs for the marathons that I've ran, a lot of those miles have been put down running around this park. It's straight. Most of it's lit. You've got grass that pretty much surrounds these 3 quadrants here. So it gives you a little bit of a relief in terms of temperature. But very cool park, lots of grass areas. So you got the zoo here. Then you have a golf course, 18-hole golf course. Then you've got dog parks, both large and small. You've got tons of picnic areas. They have an event venue, an event lawn there. They have a man-made little, it's a pond with kind of this river system. So it's definitely a cool park. Play places for the kids, everything that you would hope to find at an awesome park. So that's a great area. And surrounding this is a lot of, I would say, very classic Tucson neighborhoods. Man, being a local Tucsonan, when I say classic Tucson neighborhood, I have a vivid image in my mind. But if you're not from here, maybe if you're from Tucson, you get it. If you're not from here, I guess the best way that I could describe it is you've got primarily ranch style homes. So single story, ceiling heights on the interior are probably 7.5, no more than 8 feet tall. So they're relatively low. You know, a pitched roof like this. Let's see, carports, rarely, I mean, not many garages, a lot of diversity in terms of what colors you see, very little HOAs in that area. So you're gonna find you'll find a street that, man, every one of the neighbors is just dialed in on their maintenance, and their front yard landscaping looks amazing. And then you'll jump one street over, and it's like every single person, every single house has a mechanic that lives there and just has like 15 cars in the front yard, and half of them are being worked on. And so and some of them are just the weeds are going crazy. So when I say a classic Tucson neighborhood, those are the neighborhoods. I grew up. I spent a lot of my time in my youth growing up in neighborhoods exactly like I'm describing. So I used to live. We lived for several years in this area near 5th Street and Columbus. And I would still live there. I love that area, but it's exactly like I described. You've got some newly built homes, like within the last 10 years. You've got predominantly 1960s, 70s, 50s to 70s, I would say, single story predominantly, but you have some 2 stories sprinkled throughout. You've got brick, you've got stucco, you've got you have more modern finishes, you have more classic vintage finishes. So it really is diverse in these central Tucson neighborhoods. And I've lived in several of them. The most recent one was here in this area, and I would live there again. I appreciate that. But then again, I am a Tucsonan. All right, so let's take a look over here. So old money and shady money. Let me think about what old money. Okay, Sam Hughes, got it. Okay, so Sam Hughes, I was like, where are they? Okay, Sam Hughes is old money and shady money. I'm not sure where they're getting the shady money from. Old money, this Sam Hughes is one of the most historic and iconic neighborhoods in all of Tucson. It neighbors Campbell Avenue here, and just west of Campbell is the University of Arizona campus. Now, Sam Hughes is one of the most historic neighborhoods, and back in the day when a lot of these homes in Sam Hughes were built in the early 1900s, the pioneers at the time, the businessmen, the politicians in Tucson, really anyone who was of the founding group of Tucson lived in Sam Hughes. And many of the homes in Sam Hughes were built in the early 1900s. There's a ton of history in Sam Hughes. There's one of the most iconic parks in central Tucson called Himmel Park here. And so I can only imagine that that's why they call it old money and shady money. Man, I don't know. Maybe because it's central Tucson, we get shady money. That's a thinker. I don't really have an answer on that one. You do have a much higher price point here. I actually live in Sam Hughes, not too far away from this park, and was fortunate enough to find a property that me and my wife decided to renovate back in 2021. And it's quite a project, story for a different day. But there is a huge diversity in property and architecture and size of home. And there are, let's see, $1 million homes. Yeah, there's $1 million homes here on 3rd Street. 3rd Street, east to west. This is kind of the main bike path running east to west. And most of the homes running along 3rd Street are range between maybe 900,000 up to 1.6, 1.7 million. And when you jump across Campbell Avenue, that jumps into University Boulevard. This is the University of Arizona Mall where they do all of their tailgating and all that stuff. So it's a really fun, active, vibrant, walkable neighborhood. Let's take a look at what else we can find. Upcoming area. Let's see what they say is an upcoming area. This is Speedway, I'm assuming. Speedway and Pima. Yeah, I would agree with that. Upcoming area. Lots of gentrification going on there. Where is this? Okay, Blendman and Elm, another historic neighborhoods. I would say similar to Sam Hughes. Everything that I said about Sam Hughes generally applies to Blendman and Elm. Yeah, upcoming area. This is an upcoming area. Just trying to get oriented to where I'm at. Grant Road and Country Club, Alvernon. Yeah, so I would say there's been a lot of gentrification in this area. A lot of turnover of homes, meaning that they have changed ownership and they have gone through a renovation process, landscaping, interior finishes, exterior finishes. And I think because of that, that's brought in a lot of different homeowners, just attracting a different type of buyer to that area. And because of that, once that happens enough, the demographics within this area start to change. So I do think that this is this is poised to be an area that is going to continue to gentrify. And I think there's probably going to be a lot of value growth in this area over the next decade. So one to pay attention to for sure. Let's see what else we can find. Affordable post mid-century. This is Grant Road in Craycroft. Yeah, I would say so. Affordable. Yeah, I mean, our average price point at the time of making this video is about 380,000. So you will find some. Tucson Medical Center is right here, one of the largest hospitals in Tucson. Affordable post mid-century. That's relative. I would say you have a range of values in this area. You're probably ranging anywhere from right around that average to probably fully renovated, and really kind of like the most fully renovated examples of homes in that area are probably going well above the average. Let's take a peek at, I saw something kind of funny over here. This is fancy Christmas lights. So in Tucson, there is a neighborhood known as Winter Haven, and Winter Haven is located here where they're calling fancy Christmas lights. They go bonkers in Winter Haven for Christmas time. And I mean, I'm telling you, there are vendors on the streets in there. The roads are shut down. But fortunately, the homeowners in this neighborhood are all for it. It's part of the experience of living in Winter Haven to deck out your whole house and your yard with lights. Probably one of the most incredible Christmas light shows I've ever seen. And around Christmas time, people grab hot cocoa, friends, dogs, and they walk through the neighborhood. And there are hordes of people coming through that neighborhood. I mean, thousands of people per night walking through that neighborhood. They even have, when I was young, they actually had horses, like Clydesdale horses that were hauling carriages through there. So you could drink your hot cocoa, jump on a carriage. You hear the clickety clop of the horses going through the streets, and you could check out the Christmas lights. And now they don't do the horses anymore, unfortunately, but they do Jeeps. They do a Jeep that pretty much pulls like a trolley, and you can kind of ride through the neighborhood like that. So not quite as cool as the classic Clydesdales. Anyone who's been in Tucson, as long as I have, can probably appreciate when they used to have horses that would actually take you through the neighborhood. If you haven't been in Tucson and you're thinking about moving to Tucson, then this is definitely a fun, super fun thing to do during Christmas time. All right, let's see what else we can find. Man, there is just some idiots on roofs. Like, I'm trying to figure out what idiots on roofs. Okay, so this is the University of Arizona. This is North University. Idiots on roofs, man. I don't know about it. A mafia boss lived here. So we do have some mafia boss history in Tucson. I'm not as familiar whether there was a house. I know this neighborhood is the is this Catalina Vista neighborhood? I believe it is. Is that what I'm looking at? Yeah. So Catalina Vista neighborhood here. My guess would be this is probably accurate. I think there were some mafia bosses that relocated to Tucson, one or two. This could very well be where that house is located. Idiots on roofs. I'm still laughing at that. U of A students from Phoenix who hate Tucson. Okay. Yeah, so we're right in the heart of the University of Arizona. There are quite a bit of student dorms, luxury student housing around here. And Hood Maps has decided this is U of A students from Phoenix who hate Tucson. And then right next to that is anybody have any White Claws? And that's probably accurate. A lot of partying going on here. You got study hard, party harder. Daddy's money. I'm assuming they're referring to a lot of the kids that are going to school. And I mean, hey, it could be mommy's money, you know. Engineers with a feeling of superiority. They're living over here apparently. That is funny. So University of Arizona, you actually have Old Main. Old Main is the original building, the original school building, and there's this big loop that goes around it. Most of it's shut off here, but you can drive around this little loop. But one of the most significant historic buildings on campus there. Campus is beautiful, by the way. Since we live in Sam Hughes, just across the street, you know, I'm on campus with my family a couple times a week, probably walking through and just checking it out. They've got some really cool architecture, beautiful green spaces, just a fun, walkable campus to check out. Let's see, lock your bike up. Yep. Some of these. So this is 4th Avenue here. They do the 4th Avenue Street Fair, which is one of the biggest events that they do every year. They shut down this whole street. They've got a bunch of quaint little shops that are already on 4th Avenue, but they also line the whole street with booths. And so it's all local vendors. You've got people do beadwork to glass work to make candles to, you know, fresh honey to farmers. You got everything there in the row. As to the street is just lined with these vendors that are selling stuff. You got live music. It's a lot of fun. One of the bigger events that goes on in Tucson every year. And you know, as with any downtown center, you've got downtown Tucson. 4th Avenue connects directly to downtown Tucson right around here. You're gonna have some foot traffic. You know, some streetwalkers, I guess, is the best way to put it. So lock your bike up. That's probably sound news. Don't leave it unlocked. Let's see what else we can find around here. We covered the mafia boss and the upcoming area. We got felony flats over here. All right, let's take a look. So this is Tucson Boulevard in Glen. Now, man, I've lived over here before. Blackledge, yeah, on Glen. This is Country Club. No. This is Tucson Campbell. So yeah, I used to live over here, apparently catty corner to what they call felony flats. Again, I mean, it was an area that I felt very safe in. Even today, I would feel personally that I would live there again. Hedrick Acres, that was where I lived for many years. So felony flats, maybe. I that's not my experience, but yeah, Copper Street, Water Street. You get a lot of, because you're so close to the University of Arizona, you got a lot of student housing that happens here. I think that most of these neighborhoods are inundated with a larger percentage of people who have some affiliation with the University of Arizona, because it is one of the main employers in this area for sure. So Not sure. Abandoned shopping carts. Yeah, certain parts of town. Let's see if I think that that's accurate. You see a lot of abandoned part shopping carts around here. Blackledge, Fontana. Yeah, yeah, I would say that that's abandoned shopping cart territory for sure. Former punk houses, now crack houses. Okay. Uh yeah, again, some of these central neighborhoods, this is First Avenue, Grant. Yeah, I mean, I grew up going to school right around here. Amphi High School is around here. A lot of my friends lived in a lot of these neighborhoods. Just from my opinion, I think that as with any city, there's parts of the city that, if you've lived, maybe you've decided that if you've lived there once and you've moved out, you've decided, yeah, I wouldn't intentionally live there anymore. For me, and in Tucson, I don't necessarily find myself wanting to locate myself and my family in these areas. Full disclosure, do your own research on crime maps and all that good stuff. But sex workers, they've got Miracle Mile is north to south here, and apparently Miracle Mile, there used to be a bunch of, I think they've still preserved a lot of the historic signs, but there used to be a bunch of motels lining that street, and I think they preserved a lot of those signs. But rumor has it that that was an area of, let's say, red light district back in the day. I don't know how true that was, but I can only assume that that's what they mean by that. Let's see. Was this area always this bad? So we're kind of around the Tucson Mall here. Let's see. So I think the Tucson Mall is here. And that mall has really, it's gone through a lot of changes over the last several years. And I think at one point, I think it's beyond its peak in terms of some of its big tenants staying there. I think a lot of its big tenants have moved out, and I'm not sure what the future holds for this mall, but certainly it appears to me that less and less every year, less and less traffic goes to that mall. I see tenants starting to leave and turn over. And so I don't know whether that Tucson Mall at one point was a big hub, whether that's going to continue. But you're starting to get around River, which is River Road, I would say, kind of separates into what is considered Northwest Tucson, or the start of Northwest Tucson. And so all of this area, you do have quite a bit of older homes. I would say in general, these are older homes, probably built in the 1950s, 60s, or 70s. Again, ranch style home, single story, kind of a ranch or territorial, probably a 1,200 square feet to maybe 1,700 square feet. And I would say you're probably below average price point, generally speaking, in a lot of these areas. So let's zoom out. We'll zoom over to another mall, because this one I think they've got tagged right. Mall on life support. Now, this is the Foothills Mall, or what used to be the Foothills Mall. Man, when I was growing up, this was an epicenter of shopping, dining. They had different arcades and stores and everything. This mall was full of life. But over the last 10 years, it has pretty much stopped altogether. On life support, I think it's more like it's officially passed on now. So it's kind of interesting, because this area surrounding this mall is still very, very active in terms of real estate. Northwest Tucson, this is kind of in the heart of this of the beginning, or northern part of Northwest Tucson. And there is Northwest Tucson, for much of the last decade, has been one of the highest demand areas in all of Tucson. So I'm very curious what we see happening, what we end up seeing happening with that mall over the next 5 to 10 years as they start to remodel. I think they're demolishing the whole thing, and they're going to start something fresh. I'll cover a what's happening video in that later on, so stay tuned for that for sure. Stay tuned as well as we kind of move through this video. I am going to share with you 3 areas of Tucson and the greater Tucson area that, if I was a buyer in Tucson and I was looking for the most affordability, the most bang for my buck, somewhere that I would feel comfortable with my family, somewhere that had the right amenities and mix of amenities, somewhere that had a diverse selection of different types of homes and size of homes. I'm going to give you my top three. And that, again, that's from my perspective of working professionally in real estate for over 15 years, both as a real estate appraiser and a realtor. And so stay tuned because we're going to be covering that very soon. I just want to finish this up. So we have abandoned memories of summer. Let's jump over here. Now, there used to be, this is I-10 and Tangerine Road. There used to be one of our water parks. I think it might have been, no, I think we had two water parks. We had Justin's Water World and we had Breakers Water Park. And I think it was either Breakers or Justin's Water Park that were over here. Honestly, I don't remember. I was so young when I was going to those places, but that's what they mean by abandoned memories of summer. It's got to be, because I think it was located right in this area. Now, this area, I mean, back in the day when I was enjoying the summer activities at the water park, a lot of this area was not built up. This area here, Continental Ranch, was this really started in the late 90s, really started to hit its stride in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I would say even 80s, late 80s through the 90s, Continental Ranch really hit its stride even into the 2000s. And this is a big master plan community here. But what wasn't almost in existence at all was Dove Mountain, which is a very kind of exclusive feeling resort lifestyle area, and just beautiful homes that range from, pretty standard spec homes built by Meritage, Richmond American, Mattamy Homes, just to name a few, to full semi-custom homes, some of the most exclusive estates and residences in Southern Arizona. And you have neighborhoods like the Ritz-Carlton residences up here as well. So some incredible golf. You got 81 holes of championship golf in Dove Mountain. This really all took place in the last 20 years. I mean, that was something that wasn't really even in existence when I was going down the water slide over here when I was young. The other thing that wasn't here was Gladden Farms. This is an area over here that is a big master plan community. I would say 2010s to 2015 really kind of started to hit its stride. Big master plan community loaded with amenities. And I really hang my hat on, when I'm talking with buyers looking for affordability, one of the most affordable areas to get either a resale home or a new construction home. And there is quite a bit of new construction going on in this area. So that is definitely one to check out. All right, guys, if you thought this video was funny, you had some fun with me, comment below. We might do a part 2 of this video. We'll see how it does, whether you guys think it was good entertainment, but also providing some education as well. Look up hoodmaps.com if you want to just pop around and find some funny, just have a good laugh on your own and check this out. As promised, I will give you 3 of the areas that I think you should pay attention to if you're looking for the best areas, according to someone who's a local native Tucsonan. My family's lived in Tucson for over 150 years. I mean, my dad remembers when the roads here were still speedway. The main east-west road was just dirt. So to say that I have a long family history here is definitely an understatement. 3 areas that, with all of my appraisal experience and experience helping people buy and sell homes, that I personally would consider, both in affordability, what you get for your money, amenities, diversity of different home types and styles that you can get, new construction options, resale options. The first is going to be Rancho Sahuarita, and I'm going to take you over there real quick. Let's see if this will, I don't even know what they're going to name this. Let's see what this is called. Pesticides is what they're calling it. Okay. So Rancho Sahuarita is here. This is actually, like, I don't even know, pesticides. What are they referring to? So I think there's an old, like, pecan orchard or something similar to that over here. That must be what they're referring to as pesticides. Man, I've sold a lot of homes in Rancho Sahuarita. People love this area. It is continuing to grow and continuing to be one of the top areas for people to relocate to. Tons of amenities. They have a big man-made lake. I say big relative to Tucson. Any body of water of really any size is considered big to us. So, but this is a good size a good sized body of water, man-made. So here's Rancho Sahuarita. That is number one. Number two, I'm going to take you over here to what they call, let's see, Guns and Rednecks. Guns and Rednecks is what I'm going to call Vail. Vail is a outlying suburb of Tucson. This Vail has really hit its stride, along with Sahuarita that I was mentioning before. A lot of commercial development has come in over the last 10 years. So things like retail shopping, TJ Maxx, Ross, restaurants, fast food, gas stations, QTs, Walgreens, grocery stores. 10 years ago, that neither of these areas had those. So now that they have started to come in, it makes these areas a lot more viable for a lot of buyers. A lot of affordability out here. I would say that this has more spectacular views of some of the surrounding landscape and mountains. So I would give a nod to Vail if you're looking for views. The third location that I was going to mention is we're going to head back down to Marana, and we're going to, is it computer geeks named Jim or Mike? No, not yet. Not yet. That's a funny name though. Okay, so that's Continental Ranch. We were talking about it earlier. I'm going to tell you about Gladden Farms. And they don't have any funny names for Gladden Farms yet. This is another very amenity-rich area. Super affordable, probably the most affordable out of the three areas. It's right off the I-10 corridor, so super convenient. You've got a diverse range of ages that this community or this area can appeal to. You've got lots of different styles of homes, lots of new construction happening, and just you've got a lot of flexibility and options there. So there's the three that I would suggest you pay attention to. And if you want a more custom list, if you're considering Tucson, and whether you live here or you're moving here for the first time, if you want a custom list from someone who's a local expert, a local first, but also a real estate expert, drop me a line. Grab all my contact information below. I'll put it on screen for easy access here. Let's get connected. I'm happy to be a resource for you. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up for me. I appreciate you watching all the way through. Hopefully we shared some laughs together. I know I did for sure. And if you want to see another video like this, comment below and just say more. And I would be happy to put together another video where I take hood maps and cover some more areas of Tucson and talk a little bit more in depth. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you around the neighborhood.